Hey guys, welcome to Investing with Mochi. I'm Mochi, and today I'm going to be talking about a cannabis company that is known and loved by everyone who has used it, and they're known as the Yelp of weed. And they're also a software company, which is why I consider this to be a safer and a higher growth potential stock compared to other weed companies. Today we're going to be talking about Weedmaps, and they're planning to merge with a SPAC called Silver Spike Acquisition Corp, ticker symbol SSPK. And if you don't know what Weedmaps is, they're basically the Yelp of weed. They are actually a software company, and they help weed companies promote their products online, promote their companies online. They offer delivery services, and delivery services are actually very strict with weed. So there's a lot of regulations, and Weedmaps will cover all of that for these companies. And they are a software as a service company. So it's a subscription fee. And they will also help these companies set up an online store, list products, inventory management, all the good stuff. And this is their app. And just to see how much people love it, they have almost 180k ratings at 4.9 stars. So let's jump into the investor presentation. This shows that their revenue has been growing consistently, and their earnings have been growing consistently as well. You can see that in 2015, they made $43 million in revenue and $13 million in profit. And now in 2020, they're estimating $160 million in revenue and $35 million in profit. This is just showing the Weedmaps users and client base. The users, there's an average of 10 million monthly active users using Weedmaps. The average session is 8 minutes long, and about 70% of Weedmaps users consume daily with an average order of about $100. And the clients show that they have over 18,000 business listings on Weedmaps. 4,000 of them are using the subscription model, and they capture roughly 55% of the total retail license across the entire US. And the average payment per client is $3K. So this is their business in a box way of making money. And this basically shows that they do everything for these companies. So once a company subscribes to their package, they provide everything. Listing pages with product menus, online order for pickup and delivery, logistics and fulfillments, wholesale exchange marketplace. So this allows them to communicate with suppliers directly, retail point of sale, dashboard, and embedded menus. And they also upsell things such as featured listings to get their products or business to the top of the page, promoted deals, ads, all the other general things. This is a map of the current states that have legalized weed, and we can see that in 2020, 5 new states have legalized it, but only 4 of them are for recreational use. So 1 of them is for medical use. And the US still has a lot of work to do to not only just legalize it for medical use, but to legalize it for recreational use. And really, recreational use is what's going to drive most of the sales. This just shows the app and how easy it is to order something. You can see that this is just an example company. It'll just have all of the products listed down here, and you can just check out and order, and it's that easy. This shows the business in a box solution that Weedmaps provides for customers. You can see they provide Weedmap ads, Weedmap deals, orders. Then they also help dispatch the products, and they also provide a online store. There's also retail if they're doing things in an actual brick and mortar store, and a restock system that shows restock of the top selling items, because Weedmaps also handles the inventory management, and of course the dashboard. With weed, there's a lot of compliances and regulations, even for something as simple as delivery. And you can see California's delivery regulations require 90 days of GPS logs, a live fleet tracking of drivers, trunk limits, age gating restrictions, driver manifest, receipt signature, tracking unfulfilled orders back to stock. And what Weedmaps does is that it has built-in compliance, so they will do all of this for you, and that takes a lot of work out of a business, and it'll make things much easier for businesses starting up, and it'll just streamline the experience. This shows that Weedmap is able to provide things that other companies cannot. And in terms of how they place themselves versus other weed companies, they feel that they're much better than all of them in every single way, obviously. And how they compare with traditional companies, well, they can't, because traditional companies aren't even allowed to sell weed because there's a lot of regulatory things and compliances that they need to follow for something even as simple as delivery. And Weedmaps is the only company that currently provides all of these compliance issues and fixes them for the businesses without the business even needing to touch a thing. This is showing the potential growth for both the users and for retail. Currently, they estimate about 20 million users, and they are estimating 125 million users in the future. But that's not by a specific year because it completely depends on when states legalize. And for retail, there's a rule where there can only be one license per 10,000 residents. So with that rule in place, there's about another 40K in the current markets. And if that rule eventually dissipates and it becomes more in line with alcohol, that means there's over 100,000 new licenses that could be potentially available. And with so many potential licenses still available, that means there is a lot of future business growth for Weedmaps. Here is their financial report, and this is just showing that from 2015 to 2019, they've basically been increasing revenue year after year, from 43 million in 2015 to 144 million in 2019. This is the projected future growth. So they're expecting from 160 million in 2020 to over 440 million in 2023. And their profits from 35 million in 2020 to 130 million in 2023. Here is showing where Weedmaps stands versus all these other bigger companies, from e-commerce to marketplaces to vertical software as a service companies. And Weedmaps is all of them, so that's why they're comparing themselves with all of them. And you can see that pretty much in every single metric, Weedmaps is lower than all of them, which means they're undervalued compared to all of these other companies. Though none of these other companies are weed companies, so it's not a direct comparison, but it's just saying that Weedmaps has potential to grow and be valued much higher than they currently are. I'm going to be comparing the financial statements of Weedmaps to some other traditional cannabis companies just to get a feel for how they compare. This is the financial statement for Aurora Cannabis, and we can see that they've been having steady growth in revenue over the years, and in 2020 they've had $204 million in revenue. But the issue with Aurora Cannabis is that their net income has been negative, and it's been only increasing. And in 2020 they had negative $2.4 billion in income. And these are the financial statements for Canopy growth. And you can see that they also have increasing revenue over the years. In 2019, they had $280 million in revenue. But again, just like Aurora Cannabis, they've had negative income for many years, and it's only been increasing. And right now it's negative $928 million, and they're expected to have negative $1.17 billion, which is why I think that Weedmaps is a much better investment opportunity if you want to get into the cannabis sector, because they're increasing their revenue, but they're also increasing their net income dramatically. Whereas all these other cannabis companies, they're going deeper and deeper into the red, and it'll take them a long time to claw out of the hole that they're in. So that's all I have for you today. And I just think that Weedmaps is still one of the best investment opportunities for the cannabis sector compared to the traditional cannabis companies that actually sell the product. Because back in the California gold rush in the 1850s, the ones who became rich were not the gold miners. They were the suppliers that sold the equipment to the gold miners. And I view Weedmaps as one of those kind of suppliers. They're selling the product all in a box for these companies to start up. It's just an all-in-one. It's an easy package, and they get reoccurring revenue from subscriptions. If you made it this far into the video, thanks for watching, and leave a thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps me out. And please leave in the comments below what you think the best cannabis stock is currently.